It is officially October, and I thought this is the perfect opportunity to go in, clean up my budget, and take a look at how things are shaping up for the fall, the holidays. I'm expecting another baby at the end of December. There's a lot going on, and so I find when I'm feeling financially chaotic, going back to the budget is just the thing that helps me maintain a sense of control. So let's hop over to my office and we'll get things going.
Okay, so we are going inside of my Quicken Simplify budget. If you have been following the channel for years, then you probably know I have been using Simplify in conjunction with my written budget. This is just a really easy way for me to quickly scan for transactions on the go. And right now, Quicken Simplify is 40% off for a limited time, just in time for holiday season budgeting and planning. So if you're interested in adding Quicken Simplify to your financial routine, click the link in the description box below to get that discount. And what I'm doing here is I'm just doing a quick cleanup of my September budget because I noticed some things needed to either increase in my budget expense or just recategorize them. Even though the software will automatically categorize things for you, sometimes it gets it wrong. I mean, that just happens. So right here, I'm actually redoing my energy bill. So reworking that instead, it was labeled as groceries, but it's not, it's my electric bill. So I'm making sure that it's correctly marked as a bill. And I just love that they have these progress bars to quickly tell me what areas I'm over budget and what areas still have money left over. Also, one quick thing, when I was looking into restaurants, I noticed that there were a couple of transactions that did not belong there. Yes, they were technically restaurants, but they were actually from Kyle's work expense. So what you can do is you can highlight multiple expenses, hit category, hit edit, and then categorize that as, in my case, work expenses. You can also do this for vacations. I love doing that so that I can denote which expenses were for vacations and which ones were just normal eating out in my local city. And here's where I'm mentioning about denoting things for vacations. So you can actually create specific tags or categories for particular vacations, which is really great about Simplify. You can actually customize all of your expenses so that it works for your life. I'm also going into other spending. There's over $3,000 in other spending. What is it? We're going to find out. So what I like to do is go through other spending, make sure they're categorized correctly. And if it's something that actually needs to be a budgeted planned spending item, then I make sure that it goes over into planned spending and gets out of other spending. Kyle and I recently took a trip to Manhattan, Kansas, where we both went to school. We went to a football game. It's showing tuition. It's because we bought ice cream on campus, but we're going to go ahead and just categorize those as our Manhattan trip and then just going in and cleaning up. All around, I would say this probably took me about 45 minutes in total to just go through, review my budget, and start planning ahead. So by no means does this have to take you hours and hours of work to do this. I could literally sit, watch Netflix, and start categorizing things and making a plan for my money. So I'm just going through other spending. I'm noticing $615 of just kid stuff that wasn't planned. It is planned. It's actually a bill. So anytime I saw that transaction for $280, $250, I knew that that was a bill. So that's why I'm moving those things out of there so I can get it out of other spending. That's kind of my goal, is just to make sure that the bulk of my money is going towards planned spending and getting out of other spending. All right, so if you guys hadn't heard, we bought our first house in June and we are just now getting a lot of our first utilities bills. And so this one, I'm actually starting to create a recurring bill for our wastewater. I had no idea that water and then wastewater were billed separately. They're also billed every 2 months. I actually got on the phone with the wastewater facility and I was like, how does this work? So I'm making sure that the water bill gets added as every other bill to my budget, which is really nice that Simplify lets you just categorize and customize how often you're billed on these things. And then if ever it's showing that you missed a bill, then you can go ahead and link it to a transaction that's already happened. So now I'm taking a look ahead for fall, making sure that I have my planned spending under control, that I know exactly what bills are allocated for, and just thinking about, okay, what's happening in October? Are there some fun things that I want to do, like fall festivals? We've got Halloween coming up. Do I have money set aside for things like costumes and candy and Halloween decorations? Typically, I like to do those things as part of my shopping expense. And to me, that kind of makes sense there, but you could totally make a separate budget for like October, Halloween, like fun festivity expenses. You can make it as customizable as you want. So I'm just kind of going through my planned spending to take a look at, okay, what budgets need to increase if needed. Thinking about things like gifts, because I have a lot of October birthdays. In our family, there's like 5 October birthdays of immediate family members, which is kind of crazy. So I'm making sure that that is accounted for as well. I'm also decreasing my travel budget. And then I noticed that there's a lot of income after bills and saving. And so I'm like, wait a second, my mortgage is missing from my budget. So now I'm going on the hunt to make sure that that mortgage payment is actually categorized correctly as one of my bills. So I'm going to go in and search under bills and payments and take a look at where it's located. So I see Simplify is actually showing this as a transfer, which makes sense. I do transfer that money over from my primary bank to the mortgage lender, who just so happens to be my primary bank. So I want to make sure that I'm creating this as a recurring series to ensure that the app is going to actually categorize this correctly for me. Okay, so user error on my part because I still didn't see it show up, but I did add the bill directly into my September budget. And then I noticed that it was excluded from my spending and my reports. So I made sure that it was not excluded and that you could actually see it. So I'm making sure that in October, I'm also showing, okay, hey, we need to actually make sure this is not excluded. This is part of my bill. And I think it was just flagging that as not a bill because, again, it was just showing it as a transfer. So you'll want to just ensure that you catch some of those nuances just to ensure that things are actually being subtracted from your budget appropriately so you know how much money is left over for planned spending and savings. All right, over here, I want to check out my spending watch list. All of these watch lists I created just to help me get a better understanding of how I'm spending my money month to month. And then what I love about Simplify that you just can't get anywhere else is the reporting feature. It shows you your monthly averages, your year to date, how much you spent so far this month. What are some things that you have actually spent money on? And it gives you an itemized report of all of those things. Now, I did mention that I had an insane month of expenses that were dedicated to shopping, but I know that some of those shopping excursions like Amazon, Target, some of those things included groceries, home repairs, home upgrades. So if that's you and you're like, I just need to figure out what I spent my money on, you can actually go into some of these separate transactions and make little notes of what you spent money on. Because I don't know about you, but having multiple Amazon transactions and then seeing the dollar amounts doesn't really tell me exactly what I bought. So typically, and I need to do a better job of this, is when I buy something on Amazon, immediately go into Simplify, make a note of what I bought, and then categorize it into the appropriate category. After watch lists, I want to move us over to goals, because setting the budget for fall and for the holidays means I want to make sure that I am set up for Christmas, that I have enough money for Christmas, which I've been saving for year round. But Simplify is going to help me figure out exactly how much more money I need to save in order to get there. I want $1,500. The reason I know I want $1,500 is because I've been tracking my budget for a very long time. I know how much I spent on Christmas last year. So that's why I'm creating that as a particular goal, so that I make sure that I'm set up for the holidays and I don't have to sweat. I'm heading over to the November budget and making sure that I increase some categories like groceries. I know I'm going to be hosting Thanksgiving this year. We need to increase the grocery budget. That is totally okay. And that's how I can make adjustments and pivots to my budget so that it's not the same. It doesn't have to be the same every single month. This is how we pivot. Also, it reminded me, I'm getting closer to my due date. My baby is due at the end of December. So I want to make sure I set up a little fund for baby number 2, whether that's extra pacifiers or diapers or just stuff that I need for a newborn and newborn life. I'm going to set that up as a goal. Now, when you set up a goal and Simplify, it doesn't actually move the money for you. You still have to do that between your financial accounts. This is a way to hold you accountable and to show you that you're actually making progress. And then you'll have to ensure that whenever you make those transfers, that you link that up as part of your savings goals. Also, home improvement got its own spending plan. I want to make sure that I roll over. This is an important feature. If you want to roll over any unused cash, you can. This is how sinking funds are addressed. So anytime that you spend money from there or you don't spend money, that money just automatically rolls over into the next month's budget. So I've addressed Christmas, I've addressed Thanksgiving, Halloween, and making sure that I increase the budgets where they're needed and making sure everything is set up correctly. Don't forget that Quick and Simplify is offering 40% off for a limited time for their app, just in time for holiday season budgeting and planning. This is a great tool. Click the link in the description box below to access that 40% off coupon. And thank you so much to Quick and Simplify for partnering with me on this video.